Hi there. I'm Lindsay Christianson, and this is the start of my journey in YouTube and web app building. So, for the past 2 years, starting in about late 2022, early 2023, I've been learning as much as I can about AI, artificial intelligence, and all these various tools. I've been watching a ton of YouTube videos, a lot of creators. And back when AI first came out, that was OpenAI, as well as the DALL-E image creator. And it was fascinating, right? To be able to put in crazy ideas and prompts. I was playing with it with my son and seeing what kind of crazy stuff that we could, make for images. Now, when I look back, it is amazing to see how much progress has been made in that area of not just image generation, but the amount of tools. It's insane. Early 2023, I started seeing AI directories pop up. One of them comes to mind, Futurepedia, which I use a lot to go find tools. And there was maybe 50 tools on that platform listed at the time. And then today I just checked it, and there's just about 5,000 listed. Everything from free, freemium, paid programs, and so forth. But that's kind of the first place I go if I'm looking for some type of unique tool that does something. I want a legal contract reviewed in a specific way, or I want to create images in a specific way. It's out there, right? You can find it. But going back to some of the beginning, I was really inspired by a number of different podcasts and creators. One that I found super helpful is Greg Eisenberg's podcast. And it's the Startup Ideas podcast. And that has been very useful for finding creators doing things that I want to do, giving little tips and tricks and hacks and things like that. And in many cases, I've found, these weren't people that are ultra smart and, much smarter than myself, but they've been getting started and they've been sticking with it and they've been going and going and going. Well, Greg's super smart with his podcast, so, I'll take that back. But I saw another interview with Peter Levels, who was on the Lex Friedman podcast, and was super inspired by his story. Peter Levels has a book called Make. I think this came out around 2017 or 18 or something like that. And this is a guy that taught himself how to code with basic types of tools, HTML, CSS, I think jQuery or something like that for databases. And he put this article out in 2019 that he was going to build 12 startups in 12 months. And people were thinking, wow, that's insane, right? How is he going to do this? And he knew that they wouldn't all work, but he knew that some of them would hit and some of them would attract audiences. He's created things like remote only or nomad lists, in a number of different, websites and web apps. And it really got me thinking, like, wow, what can I create? What could I make with these various tools online? And then I saw this other tool come out. And at the time it was called Magic Avatar, probably still called that. But they were making some insane amount of money. I would venture to say it was even up to $1 million a day. When it first came out, people were just fascinated that you could snap photos of yourself, upload photos to the system, and it would be able to create these really cool looking avatars for your profile pictures, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, etc., etc. But they were done in a really cool, fancy, creative way. I thought, ooh, I know, I could make that for interior design and use it as a way to show, people taking photographs of their their interiors, and then let AI go to work and create some cool variations of design. Funny enough, the Peter Levels had already created it. So I wasn't deflated, but I was like, okay, so these ideas I'm having are legitimate, but I don't know how to build them. So I wanted to fix that. And I thought, I really need to educate myself. So I started looking at all the various tools and things that you could use. And there's various types of code editors that you could use. So I started looking at things like Cursor, Windsurf, Visual Studio, which I'm using now. And then I saw, actually, it was only about 4 months ago, which would have been late 2024, when Bolt.new came out. And that was like my saving grace, because I could prompt this thing in language like I'm talking to you now and have it build stuff. And very, very satisfying to see this stuff come together, where I can start tinkering away. I want you to build, an app that does ABC. I want a, let's say, habit tracking tool or a goal tracking tool, and I want it to be for couples. I want it to be for more than one person. And certainly didn't find my way getting directly from A to Z and finishing just like that. There's a lot of bugs, there's a lot of glitches, there's a lot of things that just didn't work and still don't work from time to time, but it's super satisfying when it does work. So now I finally get it. What programmers, I think, get addicted to is that idea of being able to get through these humps and hurdles and really see their ideas come to life. And I've always wanted to be someone that could turn my ideas into something that I could share with the world and turn them into potentially a business, or at least add value in somebody's life. So when I looked at that, I looked at my old habits and lifestyle. And if I look back, probably 15 years ago, 10 years ago, even maybe, 5 years ago, I might have been the guy staying up late playing some video games on the weekends, and staying up far too late, gaming. Now I don't game at all. I build, and it is equally as satisfying and even more fulfilling than getting those little dopamine hits from a game. The dopamine hits I get now are from thinking of an idea, structuring my ideas, and really putting it into a web app, putting it into a structure, putting it into a tool. So it has led me down a path of creating web apps. I've built a few websites. I've had a few people ask me to build websites and web tools for them. And I really see this thing opening up. I really see AI as the future, and I'm going all in on it. I've got a day job. I've got another business that I'm building as well. That's well outside of artificial intelligence. And in fact, it's about seaweed and growing seaweed with next generation seaweed farms. And still super passionate about those things, but I also realize that some of those longer nature-based solutions can take a long time. And in the meantime, I want to get results. I want to see my creations come to life as there's other things on the back burner. So that's really where this AI stuff comes in. And I decided to start a YouTube channel, and this is it. So I've tried in the past with podcasts and things like that, super fulfilling in terms of the people that I've met and so forth, but I always kind of ran out of gas, ran out of motivation. And now I see this as an opportunity of combining the passion about AI to build, as well as talking and learning from others and sharing the learning. So really what this channel is about is to share my journey and the learnings that I'm gaining along the way. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are just getting into AI. They might not even know what a prompt is. They might not know how to prompt various tools. So there's lots of things that are out there that I'm going to learn, that I'm going to share. So I'd love to share my journey with you. I'm also going to be building in public. I'm going to share my failures. I'm going to share my wins. I'm going to share the obstacles that I've overcome, some tips and tricks. So if this is interesting to you, join me on the journey. If not, that's cool. There's probably somebody else out there that you might gravitate to more than me. But, if you want to join me on the journey, say hello in the comments or wish me luck. And I'm sure some people will say some super hurtful things and how I talk and how I look and, whatever. I guess that's just part of it. But indeed, like and subscribe. And, if you want to know more, join me. All right. Peace.